All right, ladies, Power Sisters, welcome back to another episode of The Gathering, where you have an opportunity to meet all of our amazing Power Success Sisters who are part of our team, who are ready to take you to your next level. Because we know right now, I know you've enjoyed every single conversation we've had with all of our Power Success leaders in regards to what really happens when women gather together. And I am so honored to invite you to another conversation with not only is she one of our executive directors, she's actually the VP of Power Success Alliance, and she's also one of our success coaches. She also is one of our Power Circle leaders here. She's a dear friend, a dear sister, someone I trust and rely on, Deanna Durham, who I get to have this amazing conversation. Again, this is a pre-recorded session because Deanna lives out in Bermuda and she's doing all these amazing things behind the scenes for us, and she wasn't able to be here, but I wanted to make sure that you meet her. And just for those of you who may be joining us today, let me introduce myself again. I am Dr. Anita Jackson, Power Success Alliance founder and CEO for The Place, as well as for LMI, which stands for Leading Man Institute. We have a whole nother division exactly like The Place, set up for men, and some amazing men who are getting ready to share their wisdom to support men around the world. And then we have AMJ Productions and Publications, which is all about taking transformational leaders and their messages to a whole nother level through book, magazine, audio, video, all that kind of wonderful stuff. And so we're on a mission to really bring about the divine feminine in every woman so that we can heal our families, our communities, and the world. So join me in welcoming Deanna Durham. Hi, Deanna.
Hey, hi, Dr. Anita. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I love these conversations. I have so much fun just getting a chance to introduce these amazing women to the world. So catch everybody up and tell us a little bit about who you are and how you show up in the world.
Okay. So as you said, I'm Deanna Durham and I'm from Bermuda. So a little tiny island out there in the Atlantic. Some of you may have been there or heard about it. And on my journey, I was in the financial industry. I worked in banking and investments and insurance. I have an HR background as well as a business analytics background. So I'm pretty versed in how, operations work, not only from the HR side, but an operational side. I do some consulting there. But as I went into the investment field, one of the things I noted was that people were starting to invest in longer term investments and really didn't seem to have their structures put together. So the only money they had, they were putting out for long term. And you would try and say to them, well, maybe you should do that because life's going to happen. And then what would happen, they'd need to come in before the 5-year cycle, pull out their money, and then complain about what the investment didn't do for them or that they lost money. But that was because they weren't using the vehicle properly. So, and I also noted that people at different stages didn't have what they should have put aside. They may have been working for 10 years and didn't have hardly anything put aside. So it became my mission to provide courses to people to help them understand finances and the role of finances and the structure of finances. And I've been doing that for over 15 years. So that's how I got here. It's a passion of mine to help people. We work hard to have people have their money work hard for them as well.
So just for those of you who don't know, Deanna and I met through a mutual opportunity. And I was so impressed with who she is and how she shows up and her expertise that I reached out to her saying, I know we don't know each other, but I trust my spirit. I trust my intuition. I trust when God gives me discernment on who to connect to, because I'm always praying about sisterhood. Who can I create a long-term sisterhood with? And then Deanna and I met, and she basically said, I love what you're thinking of doing, and I want to be a part of that. And then she showed up with all of her expertise, as you just heard. And I realized, like, this is the kind of sister I want in my personal life. And that's really what the gathering is all about, is creating a place where women can truly be seen, heard, celebrated, and or valued and celebrated, and supporting each other's success. And one of the areas that I think women struggle with the most is in the area of money. and wealth and abundance, myself included. So to have someone on the team who's on the planet to help bring about the feminine wealth and abundance, to help us understand the practical side. So in the place, Deanna is going to teach you the mechanics, the practical steps of what does it really mean for a woman to become confident and feel safe and secure in building great money and great wealth for yourself, where I'm going to come in and talk to you from a spiritual, psychological, neuroscience perspective of what it means to really build wealth. So she's going to talk about money. I'm going to talk about wealth. Together, we're going to help you heal those inner wounds that you're conscious of or maybe not conscious of, as well as those behaviors or actions that you use or don't use around your money that's preventing you from really showing up. So Deanna, tell me, what's your thoughts and what's your heart in regards to the power of women coming together, the gathering? Why is this so important?
Well, firstly, it's not something we do often is get together. We get together, but we don't talk about certain issues. And in my space, we definitely don't talk about finances. I think about what I know and how I've gotten to where I am. And I learned what I have learned from men.
Me too.
Men that worked in, I happened to work in a number of departments that did have a predominant male, except for when I got into HR. And this is something that they talk about. And so that's where I was able to learn a lot of the information that I have. I remember my first job, we used to have an employee share purchase plan. And my first year, after you could participate after a year, and it was the head of the department who was a man, and it was two of us, a foreign lady and myself. And when it came time, he told us about it. And he actually came out and said, here's a form, fill it in. You'll thank me in 3 months. And he basically stood over my shoulder. And that's how I started learning about investments. And I would listen to them as they talked. So I want to take that and bring it to women. I still find today, I don't have those type of conversations with my female friends. We will talk about our careers, and we have gotten there and feel comfortable talking about work and careers, children, family, but we just don't talk about finances. And I also noted that oftentimes I had senior female managers who would ask me certain things because they would see that I would be in a certain place or I would say something, and they would ask other further information. And I realized that wasn't something they were comfortable with. So it's about creating a space where women can come together and be comfortable, and that we can make this normal and just something we do. And it's not judgmental. It's just we're learning together. And that's what I like about the fact that it's a circle. So even though I'm in the circle, I'm learning like you, because finances there's so many vehicles out there. We'll learn together in certain areas. But to help people understand, and I picked charting because charting makes you think of a boat. When you go out on a boat, you have to put together your chart. Otherwise, you're not going to end up where you want to go. You have to take into consideration. You have to take in consideration, or even if you fly a plane, the winds and the fuel and all those things. Well, that's how we have to handle our finances. I think too often we just jump in with no plan and then wonder why we don't achieve what we want to achieve.
I'm very intentional and very strategic, so I love everything about this, and I agree with you. And eventually, ladies, you're going to hear later on today when the whole entire executive team is going to come together, and you're going to really hear our story and the journey of us coming together. And I've had a chance to talk to each one, and just you'll see why the gathering is so crucial and why we wanted to create the place for women to be authentic, for women to experience a place where Deanna said it perfectly, there's no judgment, there's no criticism. If anything, again, you're going to hear me say this a lot, where you are seen, where you are heard, truly heard, where you are valued for all of the uniqueness of who you are as a woman. And then you are celebrated for having big goals, big dreams, and you're willing to take another sister by the hand and say, let's be at the place that's actually about our succeeding and having real results. I'm a result, so is Deanna, which is why she's the vice president of the Alliance. We're very results oriented. We want you to walk away in 90 days or 365 days. You've heard me say this before. Give us 365 days of your life and it'll never be the same, because of the journey that we've gone through. It took us 3 years, just Deanna, it took us 3 years just to get here. Really. And
Yes.
and now here we are birthing something forward with an amazing team of women. We'll be adding more people on over time and making this powerful. So tell us, some of the things that women struggle with when it comes to money, especially now, because a lot of the women who are probably going to be joining this the place are, let's say, 35 and above. And by the time we get here, we may be experiencing a set point in our money, a set point in how we allow ourselves to receive money, how much money we allow ourselves to make, and how much money we allow ourselves to spend. And or we may be thinking it's too late. Can you speak to that?
So first, I'll start with the too late. It's never too late. Even if you're 71, it's never too late, because you have access to some finances. And with this, what we're going to talk about is the fact of it's not a cookie cutter, one size fits all type of program.
Right.
And that's what we all tend to have bought into. We are where we are because people have been providing us with what we asked for, because we didn't know what we were trying to achieve.
Right.
So one of the big things that we want to get out of this is to understand what's right for Dr. Anita, what's right for Deanna, what's right for Jane, Sue, or Mary, because we all may have different goals, or we all do. We understand that when it comes to something like our houses, but we don't think about it when it comes to our finances.
Right.
So if you don't go in with an understanding of what you're trying to achieve, you're not going to achieve it. You're just not going to achieve it. You may be better off, but you may not have the plan that you want. So we're going to start there. We're also going to start with mindset, which you'll go into more deeply, but we have to have the right mindset. There's lots of misconceptions around money. There's misconceptions around investments. And one of the big things as women that we're going to have to change is we need to understand we need to invest. I think women are great savers. Overall, when I look, through my years of coaching or having presentations, 9 times out of 10, the wife's the good saver.
Yeah.
Right. Most times you come to the table, the wife's the female's the one who saves, but there are some exceptions. But we tend to be good at it. But you'll never hear anybody say, I'm a millionaire or I'm financially independent because I saved myself to it.
Right.
You just can't do it. Savings has a place. It's not for long-term future plan. So we have to start getting comfortable with investing, and we have to get comfortable with risk and understanding what risk is. We take risk every day. There's a risk in crossing the street, even if the light's green. There's a risk when you drive out into an intersection, but you do things to mitigate the risk. There are some people that have a higher tolerance for risk and will step out on a sidewalk without waiting to see if someone's going to stop, where somebody else is actually going to wait till they see the person stop before they step onto the sidewalk. Well, then it's the same for your finances. So there are vehicles out there that can meet every single one of those types of risk tolerance, but it's understanding what investments are and then being armed with the information and empowered with the information and the skills to be able to go to somebody, whether it be, some people might decide they'll do it themselves and others will decide they want somebody else to do it. But if you don't go and ask the right questions, you're not going to get the right results.
The other reason why I'm so grateful that we're having an actual group, as power circles, what we call them, as you all know, in focusing on finances is because I'm not a doom and gloom person, but I am one who intuitively, prayerfully, intentionally, as Deanna does, and all of our circle leaders, we're looking to the future and seeing it's not the same. It's not what it used to be. There could be another upset. Obviously, the pandemic has, really brought a lot to light. We're not done with this yet, and there's potentially something else coming. Deanna and I were just talking this past weekend that there was this huge layoff at major corporations. So a lot of people's financial securities are, dare I say, threatened? I don't know if threatened is the right word. Deanna, give me a different word, but
they're not secured.
They're not secure. Good word.
Yeah,
they're not secure.
Yeah.
And we as women need to start being very intentional about creating multiple streams of income. And the only way you can really create high levels of multiple streams of income is understanding how money works, understanding investing, understanding the power of saving. I'm one who says you should have at least 5 to 10 streams that are all operating for you. Not because if one closes, you want to make sure you have some other ones behind, especially moving forward. So with that being said, what are some key topics, I think, that you're going to be focusing on? Can you elaborate a little bit more on the range of subjects and topics that are going to take place within your circle, charting financial independence?
And before I mention that, I'm just going to go back and sort of, you talked about the fact that things aren't secure anymore. And they really haven't been since 9/11.
Yeah.
Early 2000s. Yeah. That's when people started getting laid off. And then every 5 years or so, there would be some layoffs. But prior to that, money was not an issue. Everything was rising and your income was just rising. I would say after 9/11, those couple of years, we went till about 2009. Before we had an issue. So people got comfortable again. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it was a little up and down for a bit. And it was just starting to level off. But that's going to be the norm. There's now wars, there's all sorts of things. We're going through a new age. There's a lot with the artificial intelligence. So things are going to be less, as you were changing. So we need to be prepared for this. Yes. So before, if we were laid off, we could easily find a job. It's not that way anymore. So you need to be prepared. And that's what it is. And if it doesn't happen to you, fine. You're just better off along your path. So I just wanted to help people understand that this is going to be the norm for a while, I think, until things settle out and we get a balance between what's going to be that. But it's becoming the new norm. The new norm is that companies are going to continue to downsize, right size, left size, whatever, to try and cut expenses because they're huge. Some of them are huge. You can't, they're 100,000 people is like a tanker. And you can't be agile, when you've got these new sloops and yachts coming up behind you. So they're trying to get there. So the topics we're going to discuss are everything from your mindset, because, one of the things I used to see is that people would get to a certain amount of money and then
sabotage.
They get comfortable. Actually, I think it's just the mindset's into a comfort zone and stops working. And the next thing they know, they're back to zero. So we have to figure out what's blocking that as individuals. So that's, and the mindset lots of times is around misconceptions we have about money that we haven't brought to the forefront. So we're going to tackle those. We're going to also talk about putting that plan together. And before that, let's figure out what you have. So let's do an inventory. What do I have? People have all sorts of things. People don't even know what they have or where it is, what the password is. No, we need to do an inventory. So you can know what you have, where it is, so we can determine whether or not it's working well for you. Because some people have lots of money in cash. The person that's getting a lot of return on that is the bank. They're keeping it secure for you, but is that what you need, right, at that point? So take an inventory. Then let's talk about the plan. Let's start thinking. Everybody's going to have to think about what they want the next 5, 10, 15 years. We often just go in and think from when I start work to retirement, what I want when I retire. But life happens. Do you want to go home? Do you want to start a business? If something happens and you want to take a break, can you afford? You don't want to have to pass your life or your decision past your money. So you need to have thought about those types of things prior to putting together the plan. And then that will help you structure your finances in a way to achieve that, whether it be 5, 10 years from now or what you need immediately. So we'll talk about mindset. We're going to talk about the inventory, get an inventory. We're going to talk about the plan, and then we're going to empower you with education about the different types of vehicles that are out there. Everything from a CD to stocks and mutual funds. We'll talk about other things. I'm not a get rich quick person, but if people want to talk about crypto, we can have a chat about that. But where does that fit into your portfolio? We're just going to talk about what it is, and people can decide where these things fit, so that when you either decide that you're going to take control of your plan, because some people like all of that, or you're going to decide I need to have somebody else do it, the questions to ask, what you're trying to achieve. And so you're going to ask them for those particular types of vehicles. And when they talk, you can understand it. Lots of times I find people sign up for something and it's because so-and-so said that they had it and it was working. Well, it might work for them and their plan. They might not, we haven't talked about their risk tolerance. You haven't taken any of that into effect, or, how much money they have aside, what other money they have working for them. It might be a great opportunity, but not for you right now.
Yeah.
So to help people be able to make those type of decisions and be discerning when they hear information and understand how money works.
So what I love about your power circle, charting financial independence, is also about putting power back into your hands. I mean, the whole entire place is about that. How do we help a woman reconnect to her, the divine feminine power in all aspects of her life, so that she can make the best decision? And decision is like one of my favorite words, because it means to reach a definite conclusion. So you're going to help these women reach the conclusion that it's okay to have a relationship or a new relationship with money. It's okay to have big dreams and have big goals around our money, so our money has a purpose. I'm a firm believer money has to have a purpose for it to grow, for it to actually expand. So if you're wanting to really see your life change in 365 days, then you've got to be very involved, very participatory. You've got to be present. And I know Deanna is she's got such, the reason why I asked her to be the vice president for the Alliance is because she has such a gentle heart and is very patient, especially with my ADHD brain that comes and goes, Deanna, can we do this? And can we do that? And what about this? And what about that? And she's like, sure, Anita, we can do anything. And I'm just like, I love how she keeps me so grounded. And I know that all of you are going to feel safe in this place. You're going to be able to talk about your money without any kind of judgment or criticism or fear. If anything, we're here to say, we've been there too. This has been our own journey. We're going to be very, as one of the requirements that I placed upon all of our leaders as a part of the place, and I'd like to put this upon our members just as well, is that you're willing to be authentic. You're willing to share your story. You're willing to take off the mask. This will probably be the place where I'm the most authentic that I've ever been, in the sense of sharing my own journey that has taught me the stuff that I've learned and what I've gone through to get to where I am today, and the next level that I'm going in as 2024, which is really weird to say, is right around the corner. And this is my birth month. So my birthday is just a few days away, and I'm sitting here going, okay, what's new for 2024? What do I need to look at? And money was a huge one for me, to really take a deeper level of power, I guess you can say, and responsibility to make some new decisions so that I can change my life and prepare for the future. Because I do think we don't have much time, but we have a lot of time, if that hopefully makes sense.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you think we should talk about in regards to what's going to happen in your power circle, and is there a message you want to give to the women who are listening and want to join the place?
And in that group, as you said, it's going to be a safe place. I want us to discuss our successes and our failures so we can learn from them, because everybody or most people have had somebody give them a piece of advice that didn't work, and oftentimes we're embarrassed to tell anybody about it. Well, if we don't talk about it, then it can happen to somebody else.
Or it's going to repeat it to us again. We'll repeat the same.
Yes, and we'll repeat it because we don't recognize what it is we didn't see about it. Let's look at that and take it and analyze it to figure out why maybe you shouldn't have invested in it in the first place. And one of the simple reasons might be it was nothing wrong with the investment, but it was just a very high risk investment. You put too much money into it for a high risk, and or you're just not a high risk person and you jumped out when it was down, and if you looked at it, it might have turned around. Those sorts of things.
I even want to add on, because this was my journey, is you don't trust your instincts when your instincts tell you to do something that could have really changed your life, but because you were not a high risk person, or you didn't trust yourself, or you didn't trust the situation, whatever, you end up missing an opportunity because you're too afraid to take the step to move forward. Because I know Deanna's going to talk, I know I'm going to definitely talk about what does fear around money look like, because I was just having a conversation with one of our other executives, Pamela R. Garrison. You'll get a chance to meet her. She's the Power Success Circle for In the Sexy Zone. And she said, scared money doesn't move. And I just went, ooh, that's good. That's really good. So when we've got any kind of fear, money doesn't grow, it doesn't expand, it doesn't move to the next level. So the place is going to be your place to release all that kind of fear in every aspect of your life so that you can move into your next level. And money's going to be a big one. Money is going to be a huge one. And I really do believe you're going to hear me say this here in this conversation with Deanna. I absolutely believe that God wants to put a wealth transfer in the hands of women who are divinely led to receive millions of money so they can change their family, community, and the world. So that means you've got to get yourself ready to have the capacity to receive it. And in order to receive it, some stuff has to be cleared out. There's an opportunity for maturity. So an opportunity to heal. Like I'll talk about the money or the mother wounds around money, the father wounds around money that prevents us from actually growing and allowing ourselves to have the kind of success that we want in that.
Yeah. And also, I want people to realize it doesn't matter how much money you make. It's really about what you put aside and invest.
Yeah.
So it's not about the amount, because lots of times, and that's why we hear of, how could somebody, we hear in Hollywood become bankrupt? Well, they just have more zeros on what they spend. So at the end of the day, the net result's the same, right? Yeah. So and they aren't planning your money. And the key is that if you do not have a plan for your money, somebody else has a plan. And it is coming to you every which way. You don't understand it, but the billboards that you see,
that's right,
the little ads you see on your phone, the ads you see on TV, they're training your children to have a purpose that belongs to them for their money.
That's why you keep going to Starbucks and all those other stores.
If you don't have a plan for your money, it will just disappear. And that's one of the challenges. I used to find that when people would put together a budget, it was about a third of the money. They couldn't tell you what happened to it. Yes. So that wasn't a necessity. And that was because of the fact, I remember somebody saying, it's like I have a hole in my pocket. And I said, but do you go downtown and walk past the windows, or you go online and you look at that's the hole in your pocket. If you don't have a plan for your money, just know that everybody else has a plan for it. And you won't have it. And so, in this circle, I think the key is that we want women to be empowered, to take control of their own financial futures. Yes. The other thing that's happening is that there's going to be a shift as the baby boomers pass away, and that wealth is going to be inherited by daughters, nieces, and grandchildren. So for women, we need to make sure that it's not lost in the next generation,
Right.
which is the statistic, because we don't understand what to do with it. And I think with that shift, we as women, because we are more conscious socially, we'll be able to impact the world with
Yes.
that. But we need to understand it. We need to know what we're doing with it and know what we plan to do with it before we get it. Understand the power of the money that we're going to receive.
I love everything you're saying. There's like two passages or one scripture that's coming up, and then an idea, or not an idea, a phrase that the Dalai Lama said. So the scriptural preference that, or reference that's in my head is, my people perish without a vision. And that vision means plan, basically, at the core. Not having a plan, you end up perishing. And that's why I think so many of us struggle with actually going to our next level in life. We don't have a plan. Even from a business perspective, I can't tell you how many women I always ask, do you have a strategic plan? Do you have a business plan? And 99% of them will say, I'm supposed to have one? Like, yeah. you even for a coaching business, I don't care what business you're in. I don't even care if you're part of an MLN, because I do believe in MLNs 100%. You should have a strategic plan for it, because that's going to help you, especially when it comes to building a financial aspect of it. You need one. And then the other piece that came to my mind as you were talking was in 2009, the Dalai Lama said, I think I referenced this somewhere before, that the Western woman, we're going to take out Western and say women will save the world. Well, we can't save the world if we're broke, busted, and disgusted. We can't save the world if we're not healed. And so that's really what the place is all about, is giving you your own space to truly heal and make some powerful decisions for yourself to step into your next level of life, because you now have the tools, the resources, and a community behind you. Like, you've got a sisterhood behind you to ensure that you're going to succeed. Give us 365 days and your life will be transformed powerfully. Go ahead, Deanna.
I was going to say, and today there's far more female-led households than there ever were.
Yeah.
And so in order to prepare the next generation behind us for what type of, how they need to, the relationship with their finances, we need to understand it ourselves so we can make sure that that generation, whether they be female or male,
set an example for the future by taking responsibility for where we are right now. Absolutely. I love that.
I mean, the good news is that women are, since the pandemic, doing more with investments.
Yes.
Younger women are doing more with investments. There are still gaps between, still a big gap between women and men. There is still a big gap based on ethnicity. So these are some of the things that we need to tackle, but we're heading in the right direction. And what we want to make sure at the place is that we can make successful steps so that we don't get burnt, or dip our toe in the water, and because we don't understand it, get caught in a rip current and then never want to go in the water again.
Right. Done that.
So figure, if you understand the water, you'll know that maybe I shouldn't have gone in there because it's a rip current. Or if I'm going to go in there, let me understand how to get out of a rip current.
And knowing that you can always come back to a community and ask questions. And no question is a wrong question. Because if you're willing to be bold enough to ask the question, someone else is thinking about it, or it may trigger another opportunity, which is where the power of women coming together can really heal and cause us to grow in a very powerful way. I'm excited. I'm already in this circle, just so that everybody knows. The team has already joined every single group that we've got already. We're already having these conversations, and we know that your life is going to be powerfully transformed for the highest good as you join the place. And I'll go into a little bit more depth about the place and give you an opportunity to experience us right now. There'll be some trainings and all that details of it coming up very, very soon, later on this afternoon. So you can actually see what the place looks like, get a chance to hear all the benefits that we're offering, and give an opportunity for you to join us right away. So it's going to happen. And Deanna, I'm excited about what you're bringing forward. Thank you for being a powerful leader within the Alliance, as well as with our team, and in bringing forth this power circle, charting financial independence. I am thrilled about you and what you're bringing forward. I know that women's lives in the area of money, wealth, and abundance is going to be powerfully changed within 365 days. Thank you, girls. Is there anything else you want to say before we finish our call together?
No, thank you. This is an opportunity to, I guess I've been preparing for this for the last 15 years, and to have seen people succeed. I think it's evolved, as I've gone, and I've been able to, from it, to understand where the gaps are in the, what's available to people. And hopefully from here, we'll be able to go forward and with confidence when it comes to our finances, and change it so that we make it okay to have those conversations amongst each other.
Give us 365 days, 1 year. And that means you have to show up. You have to be willing to participate. You have to do your part. We've already made a commitment to be powerfully visible within the place to help every woman succeed. My heart's desire is to see several millionaires get birthed out of the place. Looking to see women launch businesses, launch their book, go on tour speaking. Anything and everything you're wanting to do gets birthed and accomplished here at the place, because you now have a community that is here to see you, to hear you, to value everything about who you are, and to celebrate your wins and even your failures, because failures have an opportunity to help us go to our next level just as well. And you won't regret it. It took us, like I said, 3 years, you'll hear more a little bit later on today, to get to this place. But we now know that the place is the place where women will accomplish everything that they're wanting to accomplish. They'll be supported to live an epic life. And this is the time, for such a time as this. It's time for us as women to really come together in sisterhood, with true love, authenticity, support, encouragement, laughter, fun. Trust me, Deanna can affirm this. You're going to have a lot of fun in this group. I guess I'm a ham in myself. Each of our speakers have their own personalities, their own hearts, their own desires, but I promise you, you will never be the same again. This is my promise to you, because I had the opportunity to talk to every single one of our power success leaders and our success coaches, and your life will be so unrecognizable. You'll thank God that you decided to be a part of the place. And so, Deanna, thank you for being a part of the team. Thank you for being a sister in my life. Thank you for your wisdom and your own journey and what you're going to be sharing in charting financial independence. I am so honored to have you on this journey with us at the place and at the Alliance.
Thank you. And I'm looking forward to it. And we're going to take it slow, and we're going to start at the beginning. So we're not going to start talking about where you can put your money. As I said, that's often where we jump in. That's the deep end of the pool. We need to go back and make sure we understand what our limitations are, what our, constraints are, and that we're going to, through literacy, through education, and through knowledge, take control of our financial futures and succeed.
We're putting power back in your hands.
Exactly.
All right, everybody. So grateful for this conversation. See you in about 15 minutes as we have another powerful conversation with the success team, and then we'll end it there. All right, everybody. Talk to you soon. God bless. Bye.
Bye.